Hi everyone, I hope you guys are all doing well. Today we're joined by a special guest, Aiza Hassan, a current freshman at Texas A&M who's currently a pre-med student. She's here to share her insights. I hope you enjoy. Can you share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm currently a freshman in college at Texas A&M University. I was born in Pakistan, Karachi, and my family moved to Seattle when I was around 3 years old. I'm currently studying my majors in biology, and I'm planning on the pre-med track, hopefully to go into either radiology or cardiology. My mom's a radiologist, and she had me she was doing her residency, so that's why we moved to America so she could complete her schooling here. And some of my hobbies are I like to paint, I like to hang out with my friends, and I like to go hiking.
Nice. Thank you so much for coming on to our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So Aiza, when did you decide to pursue medicine and what inspired you?
I've always had doctors around me growing up, especially with my mom being a radiologist. So I've always had that type of lifestyle around me. I never truly wanted to become a doctor until around my sophomore year of high school. I had an internship at the Swedish hospital in Seattle, the First Hill campus. And I think it really opened my eyes it made me realize that I do want to pursue medicine, even though not just because my parents wanted me to, because I wanted to. Just seeing how the interworkings of the hospital actually are and experiencing it firsthand instead of hearing about how difficult it is from my family members, it made me realize how truly selfless the job truly is. And yeah, that's what made me mostly interested in pursuing medicine. I also I was never really into science that much until I ended up taking IB biology, and I really fell in love with my teachers, and they're the reason why I really fell in love with STEM in general. So I found that medicine and biology, they have a lot of similarities, so it helped me pursue medicine and where I am today.
Definitely a very inspiring story. Thank you. So what's your major and why did you choose it as a pre-med student?
So currently my major is just biology, general biology, and I mostly chose it. A lot of people that I know, they go into public health routes or other sciences for their pre-med route. I definitely was considering that, but I realized that I kind of like biology a lot, and I know that I don't only take biology classes, but I kind of like the workload that it has of having to do biology and chemistry at the same time. And I felt like that was the easiest to me, and it spoke mostly to my interests, so that's why I chose biology.
Thank you. So which classes have you taken so far? Which ones have you found the most challenging, and how do they compare to the rigor of high school?
So, just this past fall semester, I took biology, chemistry, and pre-calc. I only took 3 classes, but it's what fit best for my major. And they were actually a lot more difficult than I thought they were going to be. They're a lot more fast-paced. Yeah. In high school, you have a whole semester to learn everything, but here you only have 1 semester, and it kind of just covers it in deeper detail. I found the most rewarding would probably be the labs, because you you have a hands-on experience, and you also get to apply your knowledge from lecture in your labs. I would say what helped me the most would be in my IB bio class. You have free response. It's mostly free response questions on your tests. And I feel like that really helped me for my lab assessments, at least, because they're free response. But I feel like for lectures, it's more multiple choice. So you kind of have to actually know what you're learning instead of just making an educated guess.
I can imagine you need to understand the content in a lot of depth.
Yeah.
Have you had any patient-facing experience, and what did you learn from it?
As I said, I had an internship at the Swedish First Hill Hospital for junior health scholars, and I really learned that the healthcare field, at least, has people from all different walks of life. Everybody has different lifestyles. I got to work more personally with nurses than obviously doctors, and I got to work really closely with patients, and I learned that there's just a lot of different components that go into there's a lot of teamwork effort that also comes into working in a hospital, and I think that also is what also pushed me more into medicine, because it's more of a teamwork building career than just an individual job.
Yes, definitely. That sounds like a great program. Have you taken part in any extracurriculars or volunteering experience, and what do you think is most necessary for medical school?
I think for medical school, a lot of people tend to just want to do a bunch of internships or research papers, but I think what's also really important is keeping up with your hobbies or keeping a steady, like, creative part in your life so that you have a life outside of medicine as well. So I mean, me personally, I paint a lot, so I had a lot of most of my hobbies were painting, and then I had extracurriculars where I would like help people get ready and do their makeup and stuff. And I feel like that shows that you're not just you're a person outside of just what your job is. But also, I did write research papers over Alzheimer's disease, so also showing your hobbies in specific fields in medicine, I think is really helpful.
Thank you. What advice would you give to high schoolers who would like to pursue medicine?
I think it's very scary when you're in high school because there's a lot more steps you have to go into before getting into medicine. But I think it's honestly not to compare yourself to others, because I feel like everyone else has a different way of their life and they have different opportunities handed to them. So it's best to not, self-doubt yourself. As long as you have it in yourself that you want to do medicine, then you are able to if you just put in the work and effort. But I think when people start comparing themselves, they start to doubt that they'll be able to, so then they end up slacking off, or they just don't believe in themselves. So I would just say being like your own individual rather than just grouping yourself into students who want to go into medicine.
I love that advice. Thank you. Did anything about being a pre-med student in college be different from what you expected?
I mean, I knew it was going to be difficult, but I didn't realize how difficult it was going to be. It's a lot more fast-paced, and at least for me, I moved away from home, so also having to, like, balance living on my own. I expected people, I don't know why, I expected students to be a little bit more closed off, but people are actually really nice. I feel like it's a really nice community, like the pre-med students. Everyone's kind of in the same boat, which is nice as well. But yeah, it's definitely a lot more fast paced than I thought it was going to be. But I feel like now I've kind of gotten the hang of like different studying methods. It's not going to be the same as high school at all, and changing up my habits in order to help better my success in school. So
yeah, thank you. I can imagine. How do you manage doing so much? How do you manage all your like classes? You're taking 2 labs, and then you're taking a STEM, and then you have like your hobbies and everything. How do you do it?
Well, I feel like my social life at least is a lot of the people are in my classes, so I feel like I'm able to balance my social life by studying with them. I really like to go out and study with my friends. I do find it I know it doesn't work for everyone, but I do find it productive for myself at least. So that's how I balance my social life. And then I like to keep up with like school clubs and stuff, like the MSA at least. They have a lot of events that go on, and it's really nice that they're super mindful about the student schedule as well. So they make time for us to be able to study as well during events, and it's not too overwhelming. So, and it's a good like break time to be able to spend time with your own community. And then also my roommates, I really I like them a lot, so it's nice for me to be able to hang out with them, and we just all study together. So that's how I don't really feel like I'm constantly just studying and working. I'm also able to be with my friends at the same time.
That's a great way to put it. What's your plans for after college? Do you plan on taking a gap year or going straight to medical school, or do you plan on doing something in between?
I don't really know yet what I want to do, but I feel like most likely I will take a gap year just to take a break. But I do know, at least I have some idea of like what type of fields I want to be going into, but obviously that's a future issue. But I think I probably most likely will take a gap year.
There's a lot to do, like the MCAT and everything. So I can imagine taking a gap year remains like essential at this point.
Exactly, yeah.
How would you like to unwind?
So I have a very hectic schedule, just because I've got classes spread out throughout the days. But what I like to do, me and my roommates set a day where we all get together and we just hang out in the living room and play board games. So I feel like that really helps me unwind. And also just spending time to myself, like, I know it sounds weird, but like now that I have the responsibility of my own place, I kind of like, keeping it tidy and cleaning it. It reminds me of home. But I also feel like that's time that I get to give myself to just be alone and also take care of myself, which I think really helps me unwind, especially after like extremely heavy exam weeks. And also just staying connected with other people and not completely isolating myself, and also reaching out to other people, so like MSA events, PSA events, being able to see people who I'm not that comfortable with and being able to be social in that manner.
Thank you. Which class that you took last quarter did you find most challenging?
Well, I found chemistry most challenging. It was already the scariest class for me before going in, just because I hadn't taken chemistry since my sophomore year of high school. So I feel like I kind of lacked those like basic fundamentals going into it, because everyone took AP chemistry that I knew, so they were, at least were familiar with it, but I felt like I was starting kind of from scratch. But once I got the hang of it and I, connected with people who actually knew what they were doing and learned from them, I felt like it got a little easier and a little less scary. But I definitely think that was definitely my scariest class.
I can imagine. What classes are you taking next quarter?
So next quarter, for my major at least, I kind of take the same classes that I'm taking this quarter, except for my math, I'm taking statistics instead, and then I'll be taking political science as well. But also biology and chemistry. So basically the same classes that I'm taking right now.
A pretty heavy quarter though in terms of...
Yeah, but some of my classes are online. Well, one of my classes is online, so I'm hoping that will kind of relieve the load. And my classes end pretty early, so it should
That's nice.
Should be a little
easier.
Ace them.
Yeah. Earlier you mentioned you plan on taking a gap year. What do you plan on doing during your gap year?
I definitely want to do a lot more like research work at least. Maybe like finally publish like a full paper. I feel like that is really interesting to me. Or also like obviously studying for the MCAT and just taking time to really focus in on my specific interests in medicine instead of just, taking classes and going by that.
Earlier you mentioned you wrote a research paper on Alzheimer's. How was that process? Could you like explain a bit?
Well, I had my counselor help me write it, but I found it very interesting. I was always interested in like neuro work, so I found it interesting having to do my own research, and like it was kind of more like me extracting from other papers and figuring out what it is that causes Alzheimer's and why we haven't really been able to find a cure to it. But I found it really interesting to go in and look for my own work instead of just hearing like it from other people, or very broad. It's much more specific than I thought it ever would be, the process of how Alzheimer's is formed in the brain. So I found that pretty interesting.
It's pretty cool though. How was your experience interning at Swedish Hospital?
It was a lot more hands-on than I thought it would be, because we would check the vital signs for the patients. And I realized you have to be very patient when you're working in those kind of fields. It's not only with like patients themselves, but also with other workers there. I feel like the nurses, I would literally sit in the nurses hub and see them on their breaks, or I would see them running around. And it made me realize how they manage their time very well. Even though I feel like nurses work really, really hard. Still seeing them on their breaks, enjoying their time, made me, realize that this field isn't as scary as people make it seem, and you can still have fun while being in medicine.
That sounds like a great experience.